for those that are hearing afterwards, happy whatever day this is for you. Keys for it is a empowered day, daily boost. Spending a lot of time now trying to sort of get underneath our minds. For those that are joining us for the first time, welcome. For those that are coming back, thank you. We have been spending a lot of time trying to understand the power of our minds. If we don't get our head straight, it's very hard for us to have our body follow. A lot of the reason why we're not more is because our minds work for our bodies. Obviously, it doesn't work for our bodies literally, but our mind is sort of stuck in this world of reacting to everything, and there's never a minute to actually think. You can go a decade like this. Some people feel like they've gone a decade like this. Some people look back a decade of their lives and feel as if all they've been doing is reacting. There's nothing really to show. I mean, there's plenty to show for it, but there's like this underlying feeling. I got this email the other day. I'm thinking of doing something. I'll just share it with you guys. I'm thinking of maybe taking an hour or 45 minutes on like a Sunday or something and just answer questions for those that have. Feel free to drop one to Andy or to me at Charlie Harari or on any of the platforms that you see this. Just drop a question. Maybe we'll just take an hour and just answer them. So I got a great question yesterday from a guy who said, like, I feel like I got so much potential that is being untapped. Yeah. When you react to life, you could be doing awesome, but you're reacting. So you're not necessarily tapping into your potential. You're just dealing with your circumstances. Now, at a deeper level, that's probably fine if it's done with the right intention, but there's always this piece of you that feels like I could be more. That feeling of I could be more really stems from this idea that I'm not using my mind to be proactive in my life. I'm not using my mind as the muscle to express my soul and then direct my body. I'm using my mind to just react to whatever the circumstances are around me. You see it even with this whole thing going on now, this whole virus thing. There are those that like sort of got it together fairly early and started to change things, started to adapt to things. Look at Momentum, the group that is behind the Daily Boost. Boom, right away. Momentum is the group that takes people to Israel. That's their business. They take people on planes. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Proactive. What's next? What can I do? How can I adapt? How can I change? That's how you begin to use your mind to direct your day and not the other way around. So where we left off yesterday was this idea of the Navy SEALs and visualization. And for those that have been with me for the past few days, it's sort of, I hope, with God's help, rounding out. And if not, don't worry about it. Just go back a few episodes or just stick around with us now. We spoke about how our minds really are just building new neuroplasticity. So whatever you're doing really ends up in your brain anyways. Whatever it is that you're doing in your life, the meeting place, like the central command center is your brain. So either you can wait till your body like sort of does it and then sends all the signals to the brain, or you can actually think it and then change your brain. It's slower, but to change your brain proactively by thinking, not having to wait for you to actually be doing. This is the power of visualization. The Navy SEALs had guys failing by a very tough exercise in the pool. And as much as they tried to train them for it physically, it didn't work. So what they did was they put them in a room and they had them think about it. These are the Navy SEALs, right? They're not sitting around holding hands singing Kumbaya. These are the Navy SEALs. Having cadets, trainees, sitting in rooms. These guys jump out of airplanes, swim in seas, kill bad guys. These are the toughest guys in the world. And they're sitting in rooms with their eyes closed and they're picturing being in a pool, and they're picturing themselves feeling tense, and they're picturing themselves dealing with the tension in a way that allows them not to get flustered by it. And just by envisioning it, all this new brain activity is starting. So when they're back in the pool for real, their brain goes, hey, wait, we've seen this thing before. Well, we've been here before. Your brain doesn't know the difference. It's all thought. It's a richer thought if it was once an experience, but it's just thought. There are experiences that you've had and I've had in the past that didn't even actually happen. We just remembered it differently. So, and our brains have these neural connections about something that didn't even happen that way. And by directing one's mind to see it before you actually experience it, you're living it in your mind. So when your body gets to it, it's seen it before. This is why the Olympic athletes all visualize the race before they get on a track. Because they want their brains to have seen success before they get to the track. Because as the reaction comes in, I'm going to fail, I'm going to lose, it's not going to work, I'm going to be embarrassed, this person's so fast, all the stuff that is part of the world of survival, protect yourself, right? Part of survival is don't not be socially accepted, because to survive, you have to be socially accepted. So that's why you don't take risks in life, because if you take a risk and you say something, that's why people don't like getting up in public, because if God forbid people don't accept what you're saying, there's a social pushback. And part of our survival mechanism says you need to be socially accepted. So you're getting on that track and you think, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail. And then all of a sudden you start acting. And then those that have been picturing, visualizing the success, there's another pathway that their brain can take on the track. I've been here before. They haven't. I've been here before. Their brain says. Their body may be going like, when, but their brain's going, no, we've been here before. This is normal, the nerves. Remember? I've seen the race in my head 50 times. I don't remember if we spoke with Michael Phelps here, so I'm not going to go through it again. Text me if you had on to the Michael Phelps story, and I'll tell it to you. It's awesome how he won the Olympic medal through his mind by training that way. But let me tell you why this is so critical. Because a lot of what's going on in our lives really comes from the mind that we have before we walk into that scenario. Right? There's the reaction of our lives. React. And when you're reacting, remember, you can't think and act at the same time. So sometimes you're in the moment and you're spending too much time thinking, not enough time doing. Remember from earlier shows, that's why God told Moses, take the Jewish people and go into the sea. Stop thinking about it. And a lot of the thought that you're having in the middle of action really is thought that's trying to keep you comfortable. When you pre-think, when you visualize, when you go into your life, but you go as much as you can, when you go into your life, and when you go into your life, you do so in a way that your mind is as empowered as it could be. You're putting yourself in a better position of success. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have the fear. Doesn't mean you're not going to maybe fold. It means that you're giving your brain the ability to see something and to feel something and to find the courage and to find the patience that you would not have been able to muster up had you just first started thinking about it in the moment. You're building neuroplasticity of success before you have to be in it, because when you're in it, you got to just be doing it. Do not expect nobody should ever think that they can roll into life and be excellent. Why would anybody think that for? Soldiers don't think that. Athletes don't think that. Professionals don't think that. No doctor rolls into a surgery like, I'll figure it out when I cut them open. Why should we think that for? Our marriages aren't as valuable as someone's surgery. Our careers, our relationship to God isn't as valuable as whether or not the Giants win a football game. Wait, this is our lives. We got to be professionals at life. We're just going to roll into excellence? You don't just roll into excellence. Imagine your kid saying, I'm just going to roll into my test and I'll figure it out. You're like, out of your mind? You got to prepare. I'll never forget, before we took the LSATs, they prepared us. I went to this course. They prepared not only the material, but like I remember the LSATs, not the LSATs, the bar. Javid Center. Remember the days where, like, I don't know how it is now. For those that are listening that are in the world of taking the bar, back when I took the bar, you sat down in this room, the Javid Center. As far as your eye can see, there are people taking tests. You can't see a wall. And then as you start, they like lock the gates down. Literally, you're about to start and you hear ching, 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 ching. And you're like looking around, and all there is just nerves, and always somebody just breaks down before. There's always one person. Anyone here who's listening took the bar, you know what I'm talking. There's always one person who's in earshot of you that just melts down right before it starts. At least where I went, they prepared you mentally. You're going to think you're going to fail. You're going to get the first 10 wrong. Be okay with that. It's a long test. They're prepared. That's life. There's a lot of research behind this. If you haven't read the book, there's a lot of research. It's called outcome and process visualization. I did this with somebody once, a few times, not just once, but the first time I did it with him, he had to speak, and he was really nervous. And I literally took him through this. I had him close his eyes and go through every second of that speech, and even visualize mess ups, walking on the stage and, hi everybody, how are you? And his presentation, and then he messes up a lot, once, twice, 5, 6, 7 times in his head. He's going. So when he got on that stage, it felt familiar. This is how you use your mind to become great. This is how you designate time of action. You act, and then afterwards you review your actions to try to see what was right, what was wrong, what you got to do differently. Then you prepare. You're visualizing. You're picturing. And you know, and this is where life becomes much more fun. Because when you're having time post and pre, you know that either whether you win or you lose, you're going to learn something from it. Whether you do it right or do it wrong, you're going to get better. If you're not working on your mind and all you have is your actions, when you fail, it's over. But when you're working on your mind and you understand that it is the command center that has to get better, what ends up happening is whatever it is that you're doing, there's a purpose for it. And it just makes life so much different. It makes everything so much more purposeful. You fail and you get up so much quicker because you're excited to see what went wrong, and you know you're going to change it. And you hope that you have the shot to change it. But you got to understand that the most valuable muscle you have in your life is your mind. And that's a responsibility. Your mind is a responsibility, and a lot of us don't take that seriously. The difference between somebody who is not healthy in how they eat and healthy in how they eat isn't a particular food. Right? You see someone, you ever see this happen? Someone like they're overweight and they're just not healthy, and they see someone that lost a ton of weight. They're like, how'd you do it? And the person's like, well, I didn't eat carbs on Tuesdays, and I was like, I fasted at 7 o'clock. And the guy's like, oh my God, I'm in. And then like they fail. They go right back to, and then they're like, oh, you know what I got? I heard a new diet out there. It's called the watermelon diet. Apparently you eat watermelons on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then like you lose like 150 pounds, and then you can eat whatever you want for the rest of the week, and it works. And then they fail. You know those people? Like every week is like I saw this on Dr. Oz, where a lady came on and she said that if you eat like guaya, I don't know if guaya is even a fruit. If you eat like if you eat this type of bean and it's on a Tuesday at 12 o'clock when the moon is out, because you can see it in the middle of the night, then you start losing. And you're like, what? And the reason why they keep on failing is because they miss the whole point. Foods are particular to the person, but really the difference between someone who eats healthy and someone who doesn't eat healthy is whether or not they see their mouths as gatekeepers to food or whether they don't. A healthy person sees his body, as they say, even though it is like a sanctuary. There's a concept like that in Judaism, Vasuli Migdash, V'shachanti b'socham. Make me a sanctuary, God says, and I will dwell in you. Meaning your mind, your body, it's a sanctuary. And if you see your body as a sanctuary, I heard this once from a magician who was training his body. I forgot his name. He trained Andy may catch this guy. He's the guy who would go in water and hold his breath and do all these cool, crazy stunts. That guy. I forgot who he is. Maybe you guys know. And he had said that the way he gets himself to lose weight is he convinces himself that food is medicine. You know how you have medicine that tastes good? Like my kids have like vitamin C tablets that are like little candies. Well, you can't take 20 even though you're in the mood. People don't do that. People don't take medicine this is delicious. Let me finish the whole thing. If you look at food like medicine, what you're really doing is treating your body like a sanctuary. You're increasing your ability to be a gatekeeper to what you ingest. That's called eating healthy. Once you got that mentality, then whether or not you eat more fruit or less fruit or carbs or more carbs, that's a detail. And the person that has the perspective, David Blaine, Andy, you're the best. This is what happens when you got Andy Boltex in your back. It's David Blaine. That's the guy. When you treat your body like a sanctuary, your mind starts to become a gatekeeper for your hands and your mouth. That's the difference between those people that are healthy and those that are not. There are a lot of people that are losing weight unhealthy. But here's the thing that most people forget. That you know what's a bigger sanctuary than your body? Your mind. You need to control what you bring into your mind. And just like you have people being I ate a little bit, but I got to eat more. I'm going to die. You know those people? There are those people that go, I got to just Google more and I got to check out more news and I got to be scrolling 24/7 because I got to know. I got to know I got to know the stats of the viruses in the entire country because I got to know. I got to check the news 24 hours because I got to know what's going on in politics because everyone in the news is totally unbiased and it's actually going to matter. I got to know. People are ingesting information non-stop that all it's doing is turning their minds into filthy alleyways, disempowered environments. You see people like this all the time. You know, it's one of the greatest frustrations that I have is that the word realism has been hijacked by pessimists. You go to a good pessimist, a real good pessimist, someone who thinks they know everything and knows why this will fail. That type that already and they're able to talk about an entire group of people as failures, that type of, and you got to be realistic. You got to be realistic, which means don't even try. You look at every great entrepreneur, look at every great country, look at the state of Israel, look at every great people. Realism it's measured optimism. It's not masked pessimism. But if you're around people like this, if you're digesting this from people, if what you're digesting is a lot of negativity, whether it's that person just being negative for your side of politics, you don't realize that you're digesting a lot of negativity and your mind is filled with disempowered thoughts. So when you try to go into your life, when you try to make a change, when you try to make a difference, you're up against so much negative neuroplasticity. But when you treat your mind like a sanctuary, you control what goes in, what goes out. It does not mean being Pollyannish. It does not mean sticking your head in the sand, but it does mean really controlling what you digest. There are sometimes you got to shut people out of your, I don't mean you don't have to be nice to them, but their words are destroying you. Treat them with respect, but don't let that in. Because when you start to look at your mind as a sanctuary and as the command center for your actions, when you start to realize that if you can visualize what could be in the future in the most empowered way, when you start to realize that the positivity that you have versus the negativity you have is coming in part by what is going into your eyes and ears. That brain of ours is the most critical, most sensitive muscle that we have. It's not just when you cut it open and you toy around with it. It's not just for brain surgeons. It's for me and you every day to remember it, to be around material that makes us empowered, to be around people, to select people around us. Sometimes we have no choice, but sometimes we do. To spend the time visualizing positive results, positive processes. How can I go through my day today in a way that is more empowered, that is more courageous? How do I overcome that challenge? I have been unable to, but I can. I told you about the story of my friend of mine who couldn't walk into that house or room with his father. He had to see it, and then he had to just do it. But there's so much more we have in us. If we will allow our minds to lead the way, and if we will start to work on our minds. See, that's where everything gets all, like, the elements are all backwards. We like run into life. When we get to things that are hard, we think about them. We overthink, and then we don't get stuff done, and we don't even spend time reviewing, and we just go round and round and round our whole lives. It's like as if like our body and the world is just like dictating how we're going to feel every day. And then we think like, oh, it's because I'm not great enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't have enough money. It's nonsense. We got a piece of infinite energy inside us. We got a supercomputer. I don't care whether or not you can memorize or not. I don't care whether or not like we got like an A in like history or whether we graduated from that. We got a supercomputer. If we spend the time working the command center, our minds, filling it with the right thoughts, using its power like visualization to lead the way, reviewing, preparing. The more we invest in the command center, the more the soldier can just go into battle. All right, we're going to continue this. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll close out this weekend with this stuff. Until then, thanks for tuning in. Make it a great day. Make it an awesome day. And like always, with God's help, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And it's been an honor to spend the time with you today. Have an awesome day.